Good morning. It's week 6 of our 40-week challenge. Woohoo! I'm still addressing questions and feedback from the first 4 weeks. So it will take a turn, the 40-week challenge, but I'd much rather address the issues that are coming up. So one of the issues that have come up for a few of you is the ability to slow down the mind chatter, to breathe, and to say no. It's so funny. I've heard this thing about saying no so many times because naturally a lot of people like to please and they actually like to belong. So they feel by saying no that they're not pleasing and that they're no longer belonging. The truth is you need to figure out what your boundaries are around saying no. I used to say yes to everything. And that often meant that I had clients calling me at like 11 o'clock at night. I mean, that's not great. I've got to sleep. How can my mind be at its peak at that time? How can I even be helping at that late at night if I've had a big day? So it is about boundaries and it is about your own self-worth and your own self-love. Like, where do you end and where does someone else begin? Where do you say, I'm prepared to give to this point so that I can actually still keep my chalice full? Where do you do that? So saying no is an interesting one because you'll have all these reasons or these stories as to why you can't say no. I won't belong, I won't please them, they won't like me, and all of that. Whereas the truth is, if you're really clear about when you can and when you can't, not only will you feel better, you'll have more energy. When you do give, you'll give so much more because you won't be giving to a point where there's nothing left for you. Because how often do we do that? You give and give and give, and then you're so tired, there's nothing left in the tank for you, nothing for your kids, for your partner, for your work, nothing. So practice saying no. Practice saying no and just be really observant to how that feels. How does it feel when you say no? Start saying no on very small things. So if you'd like to have a coffee with someone and you just feel like you'd like some time for yourself instead, just say, you know what, I'd rather prefer that we don't do that today and maybe another day we'd do coffee. If you're constantly giving at school at the P&F meetings or, your child's sporting club or to your child, just figure out a way that you can say, absolutely, we can do that, just not now. I actually don't like to use the word now. No, sorry, now. Now I don't like to use the word no. I don't like to use the word no with my son. So how I phrase it, and he laughs so much, is he'll say to me, can I have another ice cream? And I'll say, yes, absolutely, just not today. And he'll go, why? I'm like, because you had an ice cream this morning, or whatever the reason is. And so now he's like, I know, yes, absolutely. And it's quite interesting because, if we have done it or I don't feel like doing it, I'll say no. For many, many years, I didn't take holidays. I didn't allow myself to exercise because I felt like I just had to work. I allowed my identity to be tied into work. Somehow it gave me recognition. I felt that I was doing really well and I was dedicated to my life and working really hard. But I wasn't actually allowing myself to be happy. I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do, which is walk and meditate and do those sorts of things. Now I give to a point where my chalice is always full. So I will say, I say to my clients, I don't take calls on the weekend. Like, I'm recording this video on the weekend because I feel like it, but I don't take calls on the weekend. That's my family time. Whereas before I used to work all the time. So just practice saying no in the beginning to small things and see what it does for you. See how it feels to have that little bit of time, extra time. See how it feels to put a boundary in. See if you still get rejected. See if people don't even notice if you say no. Just practice it because at the end of the day, this is your life. You are so blessed to live this life. You're already one of 400 million sperm. You're already a miracle. So live this life for you. Enjoy it. If you don't feel like doing it, say no. Make a plan to do something else later. Say, no, I don't feel like doing that now. I'd like to do it later. If you're supposed to be doing something at school, say, I'd love to help right now. I can't, or I choose not to, and I will do so on the next event. Practice saying no. When you do say yes, you'll give everything and then some. All right? So I'll talk about the mind chatter in the next video, which I'll also record this morning, and see you all through the week. Keep the feedback coming because this is altering the way I produce the 40-week challenge, and I really want to help you out with it. All right, lots of love. Take care. Bye. Okay, good morning everyone. How are you today? It's very early. It's actually 6:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. But I've got tons of energy, and I think part of the reason is I don't carry any emotional baggage, or if I do, I deal with it straight away. So what I want to share with you today is it's week 5 of our challenge. Woohoo! And I wanted to answer some of the questions that I've taken off Facebook. And one of the questions, that I actually have addressed it verbally on Facebook, because I do answer my questions as well. But I really wanted to address it again on this video because I think it's so important, is how do you handle people properly, especially if they are mad and rude and mean? It's very interesting. You've got to remember this. You create your life perfectly for yourself. So if people are mad or rude or mean, it's because you're putting out energy that is creating that. So somehow in your aura, your energy, you're creating an environment where people reflect back to you what you put out there. So you're putting out there mad, angry, mean, and you're getting mad, angry, mean back. So to give you an example, my mum is my constant student, and I believe it's actually karma and universe. And when her life is how she wants it, I'm going to call myself Dr. Rhiannon, because I think I will have had my PhD by then. Anyway, Mum used to say to me that she'd go to the grocery store to get food and grocery items and stuff, and she'd go to the checkout, and the checkout girl would be so mean and just so unhelpful. And I said to Mum, I said, that's so interesting, Mum, because I just have never had that experience. Like, I go to the checkout of the grocery store and everyone's so lovely. It's, completely different. And she couldn't understand it. And I kept saying to her, Mum, you get what you put out. Like, what you're putting out something that says, I want to receive in this world in a mean, angry, and mad way. And she just couldn't get it. And I kept saying, Mum, you're putting out something into the universe that says, I expect to be treated meanly, with anger, and poorly. Anyway, I said to Mum, there's only 2 questions to ask yourself. The first question is, how have I created the situation? And the second question is, what do I need to change to make the result of that situation different? So Mum decided just to try and be more kind and put out more love and more energetics and just be more graceful and more kind and loving, because she's shy by nature and she's very closed. Anyway, in the last few months, she said to me, I can't believe how lovely those girls are at the checkout. And I said, Mum, do you remember when you used to say how mean and horrible they were? And I said, what is the common denominator? And she's like, I said, Mum, you are the common denominator. The reason they were mean and horrible was because of you. The reason that they're loving and kind is because of you. So I want you to think about that in terms of your life. What reaction do you get from people? Are they loving and kind, or are they mean and horrible? If they're loving and kind, what is it that you're putting out into the world? If they're mean and horrible, what do you need to be putting out into the world? So ask yourself the 2 questions. How have I contributed to this? And what do I need to change to make it different? Remember, you are very, very powerful and you can create any life that you want. It is up to you. So I want to hear the feedback from how you've changed your life and what you've done to put out something else into the world so that you can receive in a different way and so that you can feel people's response to you as loving and kind. See you all next week. Lots of love. Bye. Have a great weekend.